Hi everyone, I'm excited to present to you our fourth installation in our famous artist series. This one's all about Gustav Klimt. The purpose of this video is just to give you an overview of how I've set up this unit so that once you start it with your kiddos, you can just hit the ground running. So let's dive right in. This project is divided into 4 sessions. In my setting, I have 40-minute blocks. So really, I'm kind of planning this out for 4 40-minute blocks. If that doesn't work for your setting, you are welcome to kind of give this a listen and figure out how you could modify that for your setting. It should be pretty flexible. I've tried to make it so anyway. Okay, so the first session, you're going to be reading a digital storybook where you're going to present some of Gustav Klimt's most famous works. The Kiss, of course, is one that most people end up recognizing. That's the very first one you're going to look at. And right away, you see him using this gold paint and these Art Nouveau, these real graphic patterns all the way down. The figures kind of clothing, they're kind of cloaked in fabric. I show a couple other pictures kind of similar to that style, females wrapped in fabric, and you want them kind of looking at the patterns and the embellishment and really the idea that he was painting with gold leaf. He was adding metallic to his image, and what that must be like. And you're then going to transition into a little talk about his tree paintings. I present a bunch of tree paintings that he did that I could find online, and then ultimately we transition into his really famous Tree of Life mosaic. It was designed specifically for this palace, and he made 2. I'm kind of going like this because they were made for these kind of sections in this dining room. So there's one here and one almost identical one on this side, but there are some differences between them. In fact, he also made a kind of some narrow panel that went on the 3rd wall in this big dining room. But we look kind of close up at the Tree of Life, and you'll notice that there's this tree trunk with these big spiraling branches. So that's really the whole purpose of the digital story, is to kind of get a look at his other paintings, but then kind of really narrow our attention into the Tree of Life painting, because this whole project that we're extending from our Gustav Klimt study is inspired by the Tree of Life. So you want them looking at those spiral lines in his branches in that painting, because ultimately we're going to be trying to work with some spirals. So as soon as you're done with the digital storybook in session 1, you're going to offer the kiddos an opportunity to practice some spirals. So you want them practicing little spirals and big spirals, and spirals that go to the left and to the right and curl up and curl down. If you don't want to print these out, you could do this on a plain piece of paper. The nice thing about these guides is that, especially for your youngest artists, it really offers that support to help them kind of have a little tracer. But some kids already got the hang of it, and that wouldn't be necessary. So you know your kids. As soon as you get them practicing some spirals, and by the way, if you want to get some movement in there, you could physically get them up out of their seats and practicing with their hands in the air. Like, do a spiral, start little, and then get big. You can kind of have fun with it if you want to. If your kids really get a kick out of that kind of movement, they could trace them in the sand. I mean, there's tons of things you could do with spirals. You could look at little seashells. So feel free to kind of branch off with the whole spiral study. But ultimately, before session 1 ends, you want them practicing how would we make a spiral tree. So I recommend, if you have the time, that you give them a chance to try this. I have 2 variations of this, one with this dash guide and one without. You can offer both and let kids choose which one they want, or you can kind of scaffold it, like start with this one and then move up to the other one that has no guide. I would recommend doing whatever you think your kids will benefit from, but it sort of walks you through at the top, just sort of a sequence, a recommended sequence. Ultimately, it's not critical that their tree looks just like this one. It's just critical that they have time to practice that, because that will wrap up the first session. And when they come back for the second session, they're going to be trying to paint this spiral tree. So as much practice as they can get drawing with it during session 1, that's all going to serve as their advantage for session 2. Because in session 2, when they come back, they're going to look at a story, listen to, engage with a story called The Magical Tree, which is a wonderful story. I think it was written in 2016 by an author who was inspired by Gustav Klimt's Tree of Life. How fun is that? So it's a cool story that imagines the origin of this magical tree. How did this tree get to be so wonderful with these spiraling branches? How did it end up where it is? And it's just a fun look at what might have been the origin of this tree. So you can get them kind of thinking about what, this story isn't true, but what do you think the origin of the tree is? And that could be something fun to have them thinking about while they're actually starting on this painting. So once they're starting on the painting, you're going to give them a black piece of paper. You can use white. I like black for contrast, but in the real one, the background is not dark. So that's up to you. But I worked with black. I started with a 9x12 sheet. I would recommend using 9x12 or bigger, just because you really want to get them some space to kind of build those spirals out. And with a brush, it's hard for them to make real little intricate ones on a small paper. So you're going to put a piece of a paper plate or some kind of little palette out with just a little squeeze of paint, a gold paint preferably if you have it. If not, yellow, brown. Even on black paper, you could use white paint. I did that at first, and it works just fine. It's lovely. So in a pinch, you could avoid the metallic paint, but the metallic paint's fun, and it's not that much more expensive. And even like for me, I have 5 kindergarten groups. We didn't even get through one 12-ounce container of metallic paint, gold paint. So just to kind of give you a reference point, you don't need that much per kid. So they're going to dip their brush into the paint, and you're going to either put a sample up or guide them step by step through, or have them work from the imagination. You'd be surprised that, tons of them, they get the concept. Okay, we're making a tree, and they have fun with it. And then you might see some loop-de-loop branches or some kind of other kind of crazy looking branches. But the important part is that you're telling them that they're ultimately aiming for spiral, that this is inspired by Gustav Klimt's Tree of Life. If they're making a gold tree, even if it looks like a Christmas tree or a big crazy mess, you can't ignore the smile on their face. They just love it no matter what. So just that's the important part, is make sure they're having fun with it. And they're adding, in a perfect world, spirals on top of spirals on top of spirals. So, but without rushing them, you kind of need to keep them moving along, because before that paint dries, they're going to move over to a glitter station. And usually if you tell them there's a glitter station right after the paint station, they're going to move because they want to get to that glitter. They have so much fun with glitter. So while the painting is still wet, the idea is you want them to bring their picture over and set it down in a tray, a box lid, anything that has like just a little edges, because they're going to sprinkle paint they're going to sprinkle glitter all over the wet paint and give it a little shake, and then kind of tip all the excess back down onto the tray. So the tray keeps it contained, keeps it from going all over your tables and floors. So it's going to go on your tables and floors either way. It's going to get on their hands, but this at least keeps the bulk of it contained. You're going to wake up with it in your hair. I mean, it's glitter. So, but have fun with it. And you leave the pictures to dry, and that marks the end of session 2. So basically session 2 is just reading that story and then painting and glitterizing the tree. So you leave it to dry. Session 3, they're going to come back and they're going to embellish the tree. So you're going to start out with a little fun fact about how the real Tree of Life is not actually a painting, it's a mosaic. So you kind of introduce that vocabulary word. What is a mosaic? I'm from Orlando, Florida. So kids in my area seem to connect immediately with the Cinderella's castle at Disney World. Inside there's this tunnel that has mosaic walls, but your kiddos might have the connection to some other mosaic in their life. I mean, patio furniture, sometimes patio tables have that mosaic tile on the top, or they might recognize it from something at church, or they'll surprise you. And you can feel free to insert more immediate, like things they might connect to from your setting into the slideshow. So then the idea is you just want to hone in that a mosaic is essentially little components of things added together. Ceramic tile, glass, just like kind of piece by piece by piece together. So we're going to be kind of in that line of thought, mosaic approach, adding little things into our tree to kind of bring some life to it. The sparkle is already giving it a lot of life, but we're gonna add some magazine papers, some hole punches, and some sequins to this tree to embellish the ground and kind of the leaves and the top area of the tree. So I recommend you set out 3 plates, one with cut up magazine papers, one with pre-punched like hole punches, the little circles that come out when you're punching holes, and then metallic sequins. You can offer lots of different colors of all of those, or you can be very particular about it. And of course, keep in mind, kids can cut up a magazine paper and they can punch holes, but you really want the bulk of their energy in this 3rd session to be on embellishing their tree. So I personally recommend setting up the magazine cuttings and the hole punches in advance so that they can right away start gluing. What I do for glue is I put out a little card, drop some school glue on it, and then offer them a cotton swab. So they dip it in the glue, and then they kind of dot, 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 dot where they want to add things, and then they take, a piece of sequins, drop it on a place where they added glue, take a hole punch, added that way. You might come up with a different approach. You want them kind of as delicate as possible, kind of working around that glitter tree, because if they touch that glitter tree, they're going to touch the tree. But you want to kind of, as best as you can, encourage them to kind of work around the tree to leave the glitter so that the tree is looking as sparkly as possible. The fingers are going to get sticky while they work, so you want to give them kind of open access to the sinks to rinse off their fingers, maybe a paper towel if they have like actual hole punches or magazines stuck. They need to get that off. You don't want that going down your sink. But some of them will need to wash their hands like 2 or 3 times while they're working. So just anticipate that. So that embellishment process is all part of the 3rd session. So you're going to leave that there to dry. And the 3rd session is where you the 4th session. We're wrapping it up in 4th session. So you're going to do a little lesson review. Feel free to customize that if you want to. I put some blank templates in there if you want to add some review details. Then you're going to have an art show where you have all the kids kind of spread out their work on a floor or on the table, and just kind of help them sort of understand the idea that there's lots of solutions to the same challenge, and that they all, there's no wrong answer in art, and it's kind of fun to get ideas and inspiration from how other people handle certain things, and just to give them a chance to talk about it. So I offer some questions that you can use to kind of guide sort of a critique if you wanted to, or you can modify those if you can think of better things to ask them, or maybe follow up and ask did any of you really think of an idea of where this tree might have come from? Where did your tree come from? And give a couple of them a chance to share what they had, daydreamed about. After the art show, you can present an assessment if you feel inclined to do so. You can either have these printed out, 1 per kid, or you can put this on a screen and have them kind of go through it together in a whole group format. The prompts in here are pretty simple. There's 4 of them. The first one says, I painted a tree. It has a trunk with branches. The second one says, my artwork shows spirals. The 3rd one says, I glued embellishments on and around my tree. And then the 4th one is really where they're reflecting on craftsmanship and effort. It says, I used my materials carefully and I tried my best on this project. So the bottom is a big open box for you to provide a comment or some direct feedback to each individual kid. If you're working with a really small group, that may be totally feasible. If you have a really large group, then you might want to pass on this part. It's up to you. So that assessment, if you did choose to print it out, could go home with the finished project. So, and you want to just be mindful. I have my little sample one right here. Oh, look how sparkly that is. But as I'm sitting here, I can hear a little glitter falling on the table down below. The glitter, well, just brace yourself. It's glitter. So you might want to give them like a piece of construction paper folded in half to almost like work as a folder to sort of protect this as it makes its journey home. So there's one little early finisher activity that I built in there, and it is just a look at another book, and the other book is adorable. It's called Klimt and His Cat, And I included a little photo. There's a famous photo of him holding up his cat. And this story kind of looks at that cat as it's from the kind of the viewpoint of the cat and making observations about Gustav in his art studio. It's an adorable story. I felt like the magical tree sort of tied in much more directly to our approach to painting a tree, but this other story is relevant and cute and totally ties into Gustav Klimt. So if time permits, at any point during any of these 4 sessions, that's another fun option to consider. There are YouTube read alouds available. So if you want to put that on while you're kind of helping kids clean up, or a couple kids catch up on something, just be aware that that's out there. Okay, so that is the beginning, middle, and end of the Gustav Klimt unit. I hope you have fun with this. If you have any feedback, questions, suggestions, I am all ears. I worked really hard to put this together, so I would love to hear your thoughts. If you work on it with kids and would be willing to take some photos and share them, I would be thrilled to see what you come up with. Other than that, I hope you have fun with it, and I'll see you next time.